now it's like really tragic. We have the last episode that we saw was the saddest one we've ever seen before, ever. What's the mood like on set for something like that? I mean, obviously you're actually kind of saying goodbye to Steven for a while at least.
Yes, I think it was much more emotional in season 1 to say goodbye to someone because it was all just so new and emotions were charged and it's that whole like we're never friends forever. And but in season 4 you start to realize that okay, well we've all been here for a while and we are so close. It's like kind of much more familial than summer camp. And you know, you don't cry when you say goodbye to your family. You're like, God, Mom, I'll see you later. But then, like, you know, if you go to summer camp and hang out with friends for 2 weeks, you're like, I'll never forget you. So I feel like now it's like a little bit different. And also, people, you know, sometimes people come back, sometimes they don't, but it's much more open-ended. So I think we've experienced that like really emotional high, and then like we see someone like 2 months later, and you're like, okay,
this is weird now.
Yeah,
I'm crying all over you.
Yes, but it's been a very emotional season, and at this point, also being that we're in season 4, I think the crew, you know, we have a lot of new crew, but a lot of the same crew, and they've really gotten to know us, so I feel like everyone can kind of read each other's moods, and everyone knows each actor's kind of like ways of like, you know, just it's very respectful on those days when it's really emotional, which is great for everyone.
Elena's humanity is turned off now. How does Caroline feel about that? She's always managed to like keep a good balance between her vampire and human side this whole time.
Caroline is actually for choking on her foot as much as she does, and you know, being neurotic and being crazy and you know just insecure. You know, she's really found herself, and but sometimes, and I feel like she's always got such a lovely parallel for what it means to be human, and I feel like when you do get your life completely together and you think you have everything figured out, that's when you start to lose it a little bit again. We all know that she likes to fix things, and she likes to fix people, and she likes to, you know, Tyler's transforming, well, she needs to be there every step of the way to be there with him, and, you know, and if there's a dance, she has to plan it, and she, you know, and it's senior year, and it's graduation, and all she wants is, like, everyone to be happy and have the best year ever, and it's not going that well. So, she's definitely in fix-it mode.
We've heard that there's going to be a bit of a brawl between Elena and Caroline. I mean, is it fun to film, like, fighting scenes with Nina at this point? Is that, like, a good time?
I think it's fun to film fight scenes in general. We have a great stunt team that really takes the time to teach us, and I feel the need to be taught. For me, what's been interesting is I like taking dance classes. I grew up taking dance, so I have a really hard time remembering moves until I choreograph it 1 to 2, like, and punch 2, 3, 4, yeah, in another very cheerleader-ish way. So I really enjoy it, and, you know, it does change it up, so, because in 4 years of a television show, like, there will be days that you've had that day before where you come in, and it's a lot of dialogue, and you're very excited to be there, and it's moving the story, but some things are just going to be part of, you know, telling the story, as opposed to, like, the action happening. So then when you have a day when the whole thing is, like, you know, there's been car crashes in the past, or there's been, you know, giant fight scenes, and it's like people ripping, like, the fake hearts out, and all these crazy things, like, you realize, wow, this is, and everyone, like, teams together because it's something new, and it always breathes in a bit of oxygen. The episode for tomorrow night is, kind of the backdrop of the episode is a cheerleading competition, so it's really great. We feel like we're back in high school a little bit, because it is. These kids are graduating this year, so I think the writers have done a really great job in injecting just enough high school time throughout the season, so we also remember that these kids are young.
Is there any chance that fighting with her best friend and having her best friend's humanity turned off is going to send Caroline looking for comfort with Klaus?
Everyone is so into Klaus.
I know.
I think it's such a funny dynamic between those two characters. Tomorrow night's episode is really much more. We're gonna see a lot more of in Caroline at least, what we know of her separate from her vampirism. And she, like, because when she falls back into those moments, even planning, like, the Miss Mystic Ball, it almost, you're like, oh yeah, that was the part of the Caroline that, like, we first met.
mean to Gabby Douglas.
That was heartbreaking. I was like, oh my gosh, she was so sweet, and she was so excited to be at the show, and they're like, okay, let's rehearse, and then it had to, like, blow her off, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
I love it. Are you... Tyler's out of the picture for a little while. We know that Julie said that, you know, he'll pop back in before the end of the season, but, is that, I mean, where's Caroline at in terms of that? Because we saw her making phone calls and he wasn't answering, and it was tragic, and I was really...
I know.
I mean, is she doing okay? Or is she preoccupied with other things at this point?
What's different is, I think, what Caroline was, is at the beginning of the series, if she wasn't okay, she made, I'm not okay. Like, this is what's wrong, and this is what's wrong, and we don't see that a lot anymore. Like, at this point, she keeps it together a lot, and she likes being strong, and she likes that feeling. And so, you know, even when Klaus was asking her, like, if she would take the cure, and he was like, no, I think you like it. Like, I think you like who you are now. And it's true. And so I don't know how she fully feels about that yet, just in moving forward with the series. I don't know how it's going to play out. But as of right now, I don't think she likes when other people think she's not okay.
And finally, we're moving towards graduation in the finale. Do you have any, like, hopes and dreams for Caroline after graduation?
Hopes and dreams? Yes. I think Caroline would continue to be on the show, and
Number one.
from Bora Bora.
Oh, that would work. I could come do set visits there. I wouldn't mind.
No, it's okay. I would think we could squeeze it in. And she would run an orphanage for children and puppies. And so she'd play with cute children and puppies all day in Bora Bora.
Good plan. Actually, before we turn off the camera, would you want to do guest starring appearances on the spin-off? I mean, it's very exciting. This whole new world that they're building here.
It is really exciting. I'm very excited for everyone involved. I'm very excited for Julie, and I think I'm very excited to see